Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. I hope you all are doing well. It is Monday morning and just when we thought the James Rodriguez transfer saga was over, just when we thought, right, the Turkish transfer window has closed, the majority of the transfer windows across Europe have closed, finally we can settle down and understand that James Rodriguez is an Everton player until at least January next summertime. Just when we thought that was all over and done with, it takes another turn and it looks like James Rodriguez could be leaving Everton very, very shortly to join a side in Qatar. James is currently in talks with a team in Qatar, a side that has not been named as of yet, and it is very possible now that the Colombian midfielder could leave Everton before the end of this week, which is mad really, isn't it? Because like I said before, you know, when the news broke that Istanbul Başakşehir in Turkey were interested in James Rodriguez. There was a lot of reports stating that James Rodriguez, you know, wasn't really interested in going over there. He didn't want to go over to Turkey for whatever reason, whether that was because they couldn't match his wage or couldn't pay him the amount of money that he wanted to be paid, or whether that was because he wanted to stay and play in the Premier League, or he didn't feel like the Turkish league was as much of a challenge for himself, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, he very much turned down the offers from Istanbul Başakşehir and he decided to stay at Everton. Obviously, we heard from Everton manager Rafa Benitez a couple of days ago as to why he wasn't involved in the game against Aston Villa. He said that James himself felt that, you know, he mightn't necessarily be fit enough to play, and it was a decision made by everybody as a collective to not play him in that game, for him to not feature in that game. He did then say he'll be assessed over the next couple of days and will determine whether or not he's fit enough to play on Tuesday against QPR and then obviously on Saturday against Norwich. So as of sort of Saturday, you know, early yesterday, we were all sort of thinking, right, okay, you know, the situation is James wasn't fit enough to play against Aston Villa, or he certainly wasn't fit enough to be involved. Hopefully he gets his head down, he works hard over the next couple of days in training, and we might be able to see him play at QPR in the Cup, or if not, featured in some form against Norwich, which would have meant he would have played in front of a packed out Goodison Park, and everything was just sort of calm, everything was as is, you know. Okay, there was a little bit of fume over the weekend about why he wasn't involved in the squad, which is understandable. Listen, if James Rodriguez was fully fit, then there was no reason as to why he shouldn't have been a part of that squad on Saturday, certainly considering we had 8 substitutes on the bench when you can field a possible 9, and given the fact that our squad was massively lacking any sort of depth, and our substitute bench was massively lacking any sort of real quality as well. However, obviously it's come out since then that he picked up an injury, he wasn't fit enough to play, so that's why he wasn't involved. And then all of a sudden, yesterday afternoon, there's a picture put on Instagram of James Rodriguez at Manchester Airport. Everybody's sort of sitting around thinking, why is James Rodriguez at Manchester Airport? We've got a game on Tuesday that we were told he would be getting tested to see whether he's fit. Highly doubt he's travelling over to QPR on Sunday morning on his own. So why is he at Manchester Airport? And then, of course, all of the rumours started flooding in about a potential move to Qatar. So let's talk about these rumours anyway before we go into giving my opinion on the whole situation, the whole James Rodriguez saga, because I do think it's quite disappointing how this saga has gone on and how potentially it could be ending for James Rodriguez in his time at Everton Football Club as well. But let's just remind ourselves of the latest regarding James Rodriguez. So a lot of news has been broken over the last sort of 12 hours or so. Overnight, there was a lot of reports on Twitter and different social media sites. The latest coming from Paul Joyce, who of course is a very reliable source here, said that James Rodriguez is in Qatar for negotiations with a club there as he looks to leave Everton. Everton are looking to offload the Colombian. Piciera, who of course is a Colombian journalist, worked very, very closely with the deal to bring James Rodriguez into Everton in the first place. He has said that James Rodriguez has left Dubai after undergoing his medical and is now travelling to Qatar. Rodriguez will negotiate with the team today. Unconfirmed reports that it will be Al Rayyan. salary negotiations today. Everton have accepted his departure. Just before that, PCA said James Rodriguez has travelled to negotiate with the club in United Arab Emirates. Everton have given the green light to the agreement, and the Colombian midfielder will personally analyse the proposal. Tomorrow there will be news. And then a lot of other journalists have basically just re-quoted a lot of the other sort of, again, tweets and reports. Phil Kirkbride of the Liverpool Echo has said that James Rodriguez is hoping to join a club in Qatar. And it seems at the moment very much like Ryan Taylor Sports said that James Rodriguez looks set to leave Everton. He flew to the Middle East yesterday from Manchester. Rafa Benitez is happy to let him go. So it looks like this is very much a mutual agreement between James Rodriguez and Everton Football Club and Rafa Benitez as Everton manager. It seems like James Rodriguez doesn't want to be here, doesn't want to fight for his place, doesn't want to play for Everton, and Everton ultimately don't want a player on their books that A, doesn't want to be here, and B, and probably B, more importantly, doesn't want to be here and is being paid £200,000 a week to not want to be here. So overall, it makes sense that in this current situation where we are now, it makes sense James Rodriguez leaves Everton. It just does. Now, I get that it's a bit, it's not ideal, is it? Because we're allowing our most, our best player in regards to technical ability to leave the football club, and we've not given ourselves any chance to replace him or to bring anybody in to replace that quality, because obviously the transfer window is closed. But not only not allowing ourselves any time or obviously any opportunity to bring a replacement in for James Rodriguez because of the transfer window being closed, but we're also further weakening what is already quite a weak squad. We've seen this on Saturday against Aston Villa. Obviously, I spoke in the instant match reaction, the player ratings, about how Everton are the unluckiest team in world football when it comes to injuries. Everton went into that game against Aston Villa without Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, who were our two strikers, our two main strikers, without our captain Seamus Coleman, and without our number one goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. Now, we know Dominic Calvert-Lewin is out for 2-3 weeks, maybe more, and the club confirmed after the Aston Villa game that Richarlison, Jordan Pickford and Seamus Coleman are likely to be out for 2 to 3 weeks as well. So that's maybe 3 weeks, maybe even a month without our two main strikers, our number one goalkeeper and our club captain as well. So we already know that we're 5 games into a Premier League season and injuries have already killed us massively, have already depleted the squad drastically. Just 4 or 5 games into the point where we're having to, field 8 substitutes when we can field a possible 9, to the point where you're looking at the game against QPR tomorrow, which we will be talking about later, by the way. We will have the live game review to the Aston Villa game up a little bit later on, and then, of course, the game preview to the QPR game after that as well. We're looking at this game against QPR tomorrow, and I'm sort of thinking, who comes in? Can we afford Alan and Decore to drop out? Because who do we have to come in and replace them? Jean-Philippe Gbamin missed the game on Saturday due to a precaution because he felt like he might have hurt himself in training. Will he be fit to start this game on Tuesday? Luca Dean had a poor game on Saturday, but he can't come out because we've got nobody to replace him. Is John Joe Kenny going to play at right back, or does Rafa Benitez just simply not think John Joe Kenny's good enough to play at right back? Will Solomon Rondon have to play up front again? If so, is that going to help him fitness-wise? Because again, he didn't look the fittest on Saturday. Maybe that's just the way he plays, but I felt like he looked like he was lacking a little bit of match sharpness. So we're already looking at a squad that is a lot weaker than it should be. Put it that way. Given the amount of money that Everton have spent over the years, a lot weaker than it should be. Which is worrying in itself for various different reasons. We're now looking to further weaken that squad by allowing James Rodriguez to leave. Now, whatever you think about James Rodriguez, whether you like him, whether you dislike him, whether you think he's great, whether you don't think he's great, whether you think he's injured all the time, whether you don't think he's injured all the time, he is an employee of Everton Football Club, and an employee that, once fit and passes all his fitness tests, will be able to play football for Everton. Therefore, he is a member of a squad that is already drastically weak that we're allowing to leave. Now, I get all of the other factors in the situation. I get it. He doesn't want to be here. It's become clear as day now he doesn't want to be here. We spoke a couple of days ago about James Rodriguez's motivation. What is his motivation? Is his motivation going to be to get his head down, work hard, and think, do you know what? I haven't got to move away in the summer. which I wanted. So I'm going to get my head down, I'm going to fight for my place, and I'm going to force myself into this Everton team. I'm going to show the manager and I'm going to show the fans that I'm more than good enough to be a part of this side. Or will his motivation be, well, you know what, I didn't get me move, so I'm going to sulk, I'm going to get home and play Call of Duty every 10 minutes. I'm going to pick up 200 grand a week, and I'm not going to bother even working hard in training or fighting for me place, and then I'll leave in the summer on loads of money, having had to do very little. Well, it turns out that his motivation is actually that he still wants to move away from Everton, which is sad really, because you look at a player like James Rodriguez and the quality that he brings, and I can't help but feel like a player of his quality, I'm not going to say he'll be wasted over in Qatar, but he's more than good enough to play in that league. Let's be honest, let's not sugarcoat it. You know, he's more than good enough to still play in the Premier League, or still play in Spain or Italy or Germany or whatever. I just feel like he's going to Qatar at a time in his career where he's pretty much cementing that, you know, he'll never get a big club move again. He'll never be able to, you know, come back and play in Germany or Spain. He might get a move to Porto later on in his career when they can afford his wages. But I think he's sort of cementing at 30 years old that his footballing career is pretty much over and done with, certainly at the highest level, which is disappointing for him as a player, I suppose, because, like I said, technically he's still absolutely unbelievable. Yes, he has his problems with injury. Yes, he has his problems with fitness, but technically, we saw last season, he's still absolutely amazing. So his motivation surely is that he's not really interested in playing at the highest level. He's not really interested in battling and fighting and breaking himself into a side. He's more interested in having an easy life and earning a shitload of money. That's just what I'm saying. That might be completely different. I might be completely beyond what's reality in this situation. But that's just how I see it. Anders Alfonso in the comments says he did not want the move. I don't agree with that, mate, if I'm being honest with you. I don't agree with that. I think, as I said before, I really don't subscribe to the whole narrative of that Rafa Benitez is trying to force James Rodriguez out the club, and James Rodriguez desperately wants to stay and desperately wants to work hard and desperately wants to battle and fight and play for Everton Football Club, and it's Rafa that's wanting him out. I don't subscribe to it whatsoever. I actually think this is a very mutual situation, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, and by that I mean I think Rafa Benitez has probably looked at James Rodriguez and thought, you're not going to bring what I need you to bring, i.e. work rate, desire, commitment. You're not going to battle, you're not going to fight, you're not going to work as hard as these other players, and you're on a lot more money than the majority of them. And James Rodriguez has probably thought, well, you know, I don't want to play for Everton anymore. Listen, James admitted it on his social media account, on his Twitch account a few weeks ago. James Rodriguez admitted that he come to Everton for Carlo Ancelotti, and now Carlo Ancelotti isn't at Everton. So he's practically admitted in that sentence that he come for one reason, and that one reason has now left Everton. So ultimately, what reasons does he have to stay at the football club? Now, I know he stayed in pre-season and he played in Florida, and he had an impact there, and obviously I know he's been training over the last couple of weeks or so. But a prime example of it is Saturday. The news broke that James had, felt he had a little bit of a problem, or felt he wasn't quite fit enough to play, or the club felt he wasn't quite fit enough to play. If James wanted to be here, wanted to show his commitment, wanted to show his desire, wanted to show that he really wants to play for Everton Football Club, and he doesn't want to move away from the club, then surely he'd have gone, no, do you know what? I am fit enough. I mightn't be at 110%, but I'm ready to play. I'm ready to show, put me on the bench. I'm ready to be a part of the team. I'm ready to be... And I know he said it on Twitch a few days before, but it's no good coming out on a Wednesday and saying on Twitch, listen, if Everton need me, I'm fit, I'm ready to go. And then saying to the manager on Friday behind closed doors, actually, you know what, my calf isn't feeling too good today, or my leg isn't feeling too good today, or this, that, and the other. And the manager going, well, we won't play you then. And then going, yeah, that's the right decision, sound. It's all good coming out on social media and saying one thing. If you're saying the complete opposite to the manager a few days later, then what difference does that make? So, listen, ultimately, I'm disappointed. I am disappointed because I wanted to see James Rodriguez in front of a packed out Goodison Park, and I wanted to see James Rodriguez in the flesh, which I still haven't got to do at this point. And B, I just think I'm disappointed for the player, to be honest with you. I'm disappointed for the player. I think going to Qatar at this stage in his career, when a player of the quality of James Rodriguez, of the technical ability of James Rodriguez, this lad could still play in any of the top 5 leagues in Europe. Let's not get it twisted. Yes, his injuries aren't great, and there'd be a lot of big clubs that would look nowhere near him because of those injuries and because of those fitness problems. I understand that completely, but there's a lot of clubs in Germany, there's a lot of clubs in Italy, there's a lot of clubs in England, including Everton, and there's a lot of clubs in Spain and France and any of the other top leagues in Europe that would more than happily have James Rodriguez as a part of their squad if he give a little, i.e. if he said, okay, I'll drop my wage a little bit and I'll come and play for you. There's a lot of clubs across Europe, across the world, playing in the Champions League, the Europa League, that would love to have a player of the ilk of James Rodriguez at their football club, of the technical ability of James Rodriguez at the football club, but they just either can't afford him or he's not interested in the wage drop. If I was James, if I was James Rodriguez and somebody asked me now, James, where would you rather go? Let's pretend that this is James Rodriguez's Twitch stream and the green screen is his living room and I'm James. I know I look quite like him, but let's just pretend. And somebody said, James, where would you rather go? Would you rather go to Qatar and be paid the same amount of money you paid at Everton, if not maybe a little bit more, or would you rather go and play for Porto in Portugal or AC Milan in Italy, or I don't know, maybe Atletico in Spain? Not again, I'm just throwing clubs' names out there, or I don't know, maybe Schalke in Spain, or not Schalke, bad example. I don't know, Frankfurt in Spain, or Leverkusen in Germany, Frankfurt in Germany, Leverkusen in Germany, and have your wages dropped. Let's say half. Let's say from 200 grand a week you go to 90 grand a week, or 80 grand a week. What would you rather do? Being a multi-million-pound superstar anyway, and almost understanding that you don't really need the extra 100 grand a week, considering that this lad is already, again, he's being paid £200,000 a week from Everton since the day he walked in the door. Personally, I'd say I'd rather go and play for any of the top teams in Europe. I'd rather go and play for, a team in Germany or Spain or Italy or France, where I'm going to get a chance to play in the Champions League or the Europa League and play against, the best players in the world and fight and battle and show this desire. But again, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like that's James Rodriguez's prerogative at the moment, and I don't quite understand it. Because yes, he's had his troubles with injuries. Yes, he's had his troubles with fitness. But he's 30 years old. He's 30 years old. We've just seen Cristiano Ronaldo come over to the Premier League at 36, 37 years old, and he's played 3 Premier League games, and he's scored in all of them so far. I'm just gonna get his age up because I think he's 36 years old, Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know when his birthday is. 36 years old, 6 years older than James Rodriguez, and his desire when leaving Juventus was, I want to go and play in the best league in the world. I want to go and play for Manchester United. I want to go and by the way, Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't come into Manchester United to pick up a payday and struggle through a couple of years there and be lauded as a legend. He's come into Manchester United not to finish second and be told that's great because City are boss, so finishing second's boss. He's come to Manchester United to win the league. He's come to Manchester United to win the Champions League. He's come to Manchester United because he'll believe that they will be the same team that they were when he left them 12 years ago. And when he left them 12 years ago, they were winning the Premier League every year, and they were either winning the Champions League or they were getting very close to winning the Champions League. So he hasn't come into United to piss about or to just be part of a side that finishes top 4 and says that's brilliant. Looking at me, I watched the United game yesterday. Every time the referee made a decision, he's in the ear. He's there. He's screaming at opposition players. He's a presence. He himself is a world class athlete. But my point is he's 36 years old. He's gone from English football to Spanish football, mastered that, to Italian football, mastered that, and then when he's going to leave Italy at 36 and he could go, do you know what, I could probably go to Qatar and pick up 500 grand a week. I could probably go to playing, in the USA with David Beckham and pick up a load of money. But no, I want to go back to the toughest league in the world and play for Manchester United again. And this is me sort of thing with James Rodriguez, is for him to move over to Qatar. What's his sole motivation? Because it's not to play in one of the best leagues in the world, because it's not one of the best leagues in the world, no disrespect. Is it just because he's going to get a load of money there and he's going to get somewhere similar to what he was getting at Everton? Is it because he just doesn't want to play for Everton and he just wants out and to go to anywhere else? Well, it can't just be that, because he would have gone to Porto 3 weeks ago when Everton were heavily in talks to wanting to move him to Porto, and Luis Diaz to come the other way. So it can't just solely be him wanting to leave Everton, because there was multiple teams over the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, couple of months, that wanted to bring him in, that he didn't want to move to because of wage issues. So it's disappointing. It's massively, massively disappointing. I think it's come to a point now for all parties where I think all parties are just want it done, to be honest with you. And I think as an Evertonian as well, I want the situation done. I'm sick of seeing everybody moaning about where's James, or why isn't he in the team, or why isn't he involved in this, that, and the other. We lost to Villa the other day because of a 9 minutes of absolute madness. And a second half which wasn't good enough. We'd won 3 of our last 4 Premier League games before that and drawn 1, and still a topic of conversation on a lot of Evertonians' lips is, well, where's James Rodriguez? Well, why isn't he involved? Well, why is Rafa Benitez, is he freezing him out? I just think this situation needs done with, to be honest with you. I think it needs done with, and I think for all parties concerned, it's best if James Rodriguez and Everton or Rafa Benitez shake hands and say, listen, thanks for your time, enjoy your next club, hope it goes well for you. Because it's very, very clear that James Rodriguez can't give Rafa Benitez what he wants as a player. He was okay under Carlo, because Carlo would give him preferential treatment because Carlo had that relationship with him. And look, that worked at times last season. We saw him come on, on multiple occasions and impact games. We saw the game against Manchester United. He scored, obviously, the equaliser, very good goal. Game against Leicester, scored a beauty. The assist against Liverpool at Anfield. This is why I'm sad to see him go, and I am sad to see him go. In regards to his quality, because he's very clearly still got the quality. Very clearly on his day, this fella can impact the game like no other player at Everton can. So it is sad to see him go, but ultimately, you'd have to you make a list. I've just finished playing the Spider-Man game, and a thing that comes up often in that game is always make a list, positives and negatives, and weigh it out. And with the James situation, you make a positive and negative list, and unfortunately, I feel at the moment the negatives outweigh the positives. And I just don't think James Rodriguez brings Rafa Benitez what he needs in a player, i.e. that desire, that commitment, and that consistency in regards to fitness. I just don't think Rafa Benitez can trust James Rodriguez and his inconsistency in regards to his fitness. I think he probably looks at James and thinks, yeah, you're a wonderful player, but I can't build a side around you. I can't integrate you into a squad when I don't know if you're going to be here next week. You could be fit 1 week and then be out for 3 weeks. I can't integrate you into a squad like that. It's not reliable. There's no reliability there. And yes, that's through no fault of James Rodriguez. I get that. It's not his fault he picks up injuries or knocks, but that's just the truth. That's the reality of the situation. So yeah, disappointing to see him go. However, for a player on 200 grand a week who doesn't want to be here, and it's become quite evident over the last few weeks, isn't going to be part of this squad. Even if he was to stay, he might come on once or twice and feature, but he's not going to play consistently. So for that wage, I think it's, like I said, I think it's better for all parties. James can go and move on and get a fresh start and go and play somewhere else, and Everton can have that massive wage bill knocked off the bill, and then we can sort of move on to, like I say, focusing on the season without James Rodriguez. And my big worry after that is that, again, we've lost another player in the squad. We've weakened our squad again, and how will we be able to cope with that? Could we realistically afford to just allow a player to leave because he didn't want to be in this situation? Maybe we couldn't, but maybe we've got no other choice, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. It looks at this moment that James Rodriguez is in talks to leave Everton and set to join a club in Qatar. As we said before, the latest on this is coming from Paul Joyce, and he said that James Rodriguez is in Qatar for negotiations with a club there as he looks to leave Everton. Everton are looking to offload the Colombian. PCA said that James Rodriguez has left Dubai after undergoing his medical and is now travelling to Qatar. Rodriguez will negotiate with the team today. Unconfirmed reports, it will be Al Rayyan. Salary negotiations today, and Everton have accepted his departure. Yep, there you go. Obviously, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all of the latest news. We will be going live or doing a video as soon as, when who knows, James Rodriguez leaves the football club, talking a little bit more about that and a little bit more about the deal as well. We will be back live in about 25 minutes or so, talking about the game against Aston Villa at the weekend, talking about that defeat, and then of course we'll be back a little bit later after that, talking about the game against QPR. If you've enjoyed this one, leave a like. Don't forget to let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What you think about James Rodriguez? Are you happy that he's leaving? Are you not happy? Do you think Everton are a bit silly to allow him to leave when we've got obviously no capability to replace him? Or do you just think, move him on? He doesn't want to be here. He's on a big wage. Move him on. And, let's just move on without him and move forward. Let us know your thoughts. We will get into some of the live comments before we do finish up then. Liam says, Hi Liam. Celtic Bay says, pity to say it, but looks like he's a time waster. I hope he goes and free up some cash in January. Well, we will free up some form of cash, because obviously we'll have his wages to play with as well in January. So who knows? Andrew says, Hi Cam. Mixed feelings about James. We have a small squad anyway, and if he goes, it's depleted more. He's our most creative player. Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue, isn't it? If we weren't in such a dire situation with the sort of strength of our squad, and if we hadn't have just picked up about 25 injuries to key players in the opening 4 games of the season, I don't think this would be as big of an issue for fans. I think it would be a majority shake hands with them and move them on, but it's because of the injuries currently in the squad. It's because of the fact that the squad depth is really starting to show now, and with only 5 games in, that it is a little bit, I get it's a bit sort of bitter pill to swallow, and I agree. Mark says, James, what a step down in quality from the Premier League to Qatar. There you go. Stephen says, get rid. We've got so many freeloaders at the club. Andres says, it should be important to state that the player is not wanted by the club, so it's no surprise if the player is sore on staying. Well, again, I think it's mutual. I don't think that James wants to be here, and I think that Rafa Benitez has sort of looked at it and gone, well, if you don't want to be here, we don't want you here. And maybe it's the other way around. Maybe Benitez has gone, we don't want you here, and James has gone, well, if you don't want me here, then I don't want to be here. But I sort of fall for the first. I think the first is more likely. Andres says, fans really believe James was injured. He wants to play in the World Cup. He does. Daniel says, shows his ambition. He could have went back to Porto after taking a wage cut. Now he's going to Qatar. In my opinion, he was finished as soon as Carlo left. No loss. We need Grafter to fight for the shirt. I don't disagree with that, mate. Anthony says, still getting fans blaming the manager. It's the board who should be taking the blame for the mess with him. Well, again, the manager's only been here for a couple of months, hasn't he? So it's difficult to blame the manager for the squad situation, isn't it? Tom says, imperative we get through the next 2 games, QPR and Norwich, with wins, take the pressure off the United game, which may be a bit of a free hit. Hopefully back to full strength for West Ham. Yeah, spot on. Big couple of games coming up this week, of course. Andres says he did not want to move. We spoke about that one before. Anthony says, James does not want to work hard, just wants to sit on a computer and get paid for doing nothing. He lacks ambition, in my opinion. Fair enough. Ian says, I was expecting injuries, but 4 major players at the same time. Freaking time is crippling. It is, mate. Again, like I said, worst injury luck in the world. Celtic says, totally agree with you there, Cam. It's just money for nothing. Even before Golo left, he down tools. Interesting. Just another mercenary, says Jay Dunn. Mark says, James wants to be playing for Colombia next World Cup. Can't see him being selected by the national coach, and he's been warned about getting his career back on track by the national coach. Yeah, interesting. Ed says, such a shame that a full Goodison will probably not see the quality of James play. Arguably the most talented individual we've had in a decade or so. He is, and that's another obviously big disappointment in this situation of him leaving. But I also suppose that, again, like I said, you've got a list of positives of James Rodriguez and him staying and him being around the club, and you've got a list of negatives, and maybe the negatives outweigh the positives at the moment. Andres says, no player comes to a club just on pure desire to play for the club. Don't forget this is all a business. You're right. You're absolutely spot on. I'm disappointed as well. The player has a great deal to blame in this situation, but Benitez has played the hand in as well. That's fair enough. Andres, that's absolutely fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Mark says, he'll be remembered as a mercenary. He lacks our better off without him. I don't know about that, but look, we'll wait and see. Anthony says, on Wednesday, he said he is ready to play, then Saturday, then on Friday, he tells the manager he's not ready. Can't blame Rafa. Worried about the squad next couple of games with the injuries and not enough squad depth. Yeah, me too, mate, me too. F him off, he doesn't want to be here. I'm not sorry, says Jay. Well, it looks like he could be leaving to Qatar, so we'll wait and see how that one obviously goes on over the next couple of hours, couple of days, whatever. Stephen says, see if there is any space on the plane for Delphin and Tossen. Eugene says, I think Everton will get a good result against QPR tomorrow night. Let's hope so. Let him go. Good player, bad attitude. There you go. And Alder says, totally agree that this situation should be squashed. I don't want to hear about James unless he's playing. I spot on, mate. Spot on. That was my point earlier on in the stream. Far too many times have I heard this James Rodriguez saga being talked about after Everton have won a game of footy. Or like the other day when we lost. He wasn't in the squad. He wasn't able to be in the squad. So let's focus on the result of performance and how we can do better. But there you go. James Rodriguez, according to a lot of journalists, Paul Joyce, PCA, Phil Kirkbride, is in talks with a club in Qatar. Currently an unnamed club, so I'm not just not naming them for the sake of it. We don't know who the club is. However, I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about this over the next coming hours and days. We do know that he's travelled over to Qatar, of course, left Manchester yesterday. So I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about this as the day goes on, and we'll be keeping you up to date as and when the latest news breaks. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with the latest Everton news and information. Hit the little bell notification as well. It only takes a second. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget, like I said, to subscribe. If you've enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It means a massive amount to me and just shows us that you're enjoying the videos, you're enjoying the content, and you're wanting more of this. We will be back, like I said, in about 20 minutes or so. I'm literally going to run down, make myself another cup of tea, and then we'll be back doing the live game review to Everton's 3-0 defeat to Aston Villa on Saturday. So don't forget to join us for that one. Big thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. And we will see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers for watching. See you after.